Good morning, world. Good morning, Africa. Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, Ondo State. Good morning, Akura. Good morning to you, our esteemed listener. Wherever you're listening to us from, you're welcome to your mid-morning conversation program, Glow Focus, where we talk about things happening in Nigeria, topical current issues doing the rounds in Nigeria. On the program, we usually have a topic of discuss, a focus for the day, and then we take you through pages of newspapers where we bring topical current issues in the rounds across Nigerian dailies. We bring in analysts who help us dissect these issues, and then we have another analyst that will help us dissect the issue, the focus for today, which is a topic of discourse. This is a conversation of the nation where we have it right here live on Glow 99.1 FM. Today we are talking about the people who served this country for 35 years, then get thanked with hunger, arrears, and endless verification exercises. Nigerian retirees, teachers, police officers, civil servants, many can't afford even drugs, rent, or even food. Pension is delayed for months. Gratuities unpaid for years. Some die on queues waiting for what they earned. Is this how a serious country treats its senior citizens? What does it say about the Nigerian state that we celebrate workers on May the 1st, but abandon them at 60? These and more are things we'll be looking at today. Why has retirement become punishment in Nigeria? Who is responsible? So today, basically, the welfare of retirees and attitude of the Nigerian state is our focus. My name is Comfort or Molafe on behalf of my co-anchor.
Good morning, Nigeria. My name is Mike Alim or Bafemi. Many thanks for joining us. Remember, the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams, and we hope that you walk on the right side of the bed. We're here to keep you company again with topical issues in focus for today on Glow Focus, and also would read headline stories and review issues that we might have seen in the Nigerian dailies to keep you abreast of the latest random facts in history. Will refresh your minds as will make your morning much better. Many thanks for joining us. Get ready to be involved.
All right, Halim, today, I know we are approaching rainy season. First, we are in it already, and I realized that we did something related to, drainage and, drainage.
Recently.
Yes, recently last week. But today, while coming to work, I just, there are some houses, normally there are requirements or requisites needed when you have the house. You're supposed to have a gutter in front of it to allow drainage, water flow and all that in the environment. But there's some houses that have been on for even 10 years or more without gutter in front of those houses, and then we're already in rainy season. It can rain anytime without, except you're using the weather forecast, that's when you can relatively know about 90% that it's going to rain. These persons have done more harm than good to neighboring communities, not just in their own community, because the water flows spoil the roads. For example, there's a road at Oda Road, a community at Oda Road, I would not mention the name. They've just done the road, though it has not been tied. They had the caterpillar who had come to smoothen the road, making it more tolerable for those who own any means of transportation to pass through. But now it's raining and the road is beginning to get divided, into different parts because of the erosion, coming due to the rain. And those who do not have gutters in their houses are culprits to these offenses. So what is the government doing to it? I think there should be a sanction now that we are in the season. If you don't have a gutter in your house, they should give them ultimatum that if you don't get this done before so time, would block your house. You would not even be able to, or pay fine. Aside from even stealing, of course, they'll still beg and all that, but pay huge, not just fine that would, you can just pay and nothing would drop from you. You won't even feel it. Fine like worth millions of naira, so they will know the detriment of what the offense they have committed. I mean, how do we move?
You are quite on point. You are quite on point if you say, just like yesterday, we're reminding government of some of their roles, especially the executive, to make enforcement about people obeying public order and lay down rules and all that. It was majorly about traffic and the road. But today we're looking at something from the environmental aspect. And see, we're not just sitting down here to maybe encourage government to clamp down on people. It is because of you and because of ourselves. Because see, I love the neighborhood idea. I love, the community idea, because see, life is in the community and life returns to the community. If you're in a community and there is no life, there is no safety, and of course there is no good disposal of waste or anything, it comes back to haunt that same community, because you've got children who do not know their left away from their right, who cholera outbreak may happen, Lassa fever is there, and all that kind of diseases linked to environmental issues and all of that. As of this morning, Lagos has actually sealed up 4 properties over wastewater discharge, and this is it was as if you had seen it, and we have not seen it. We're just talking about our own thing on the side, even though we're going to move to the papers very soon. But before then, this is what Lagos has done at Agege, Lagos, Nigeria. They've done that. Temi Tokwe, Lagos, Nigeria, they've done that. Basically the state government would definitely get money from this, because just like you said, it's not just about sealing, it's about letting them know that you've committed an offense under the law. We are not prosecuting you for just because you don't like your face. No, it's because you have done something wrong, and this is the penalty for it, and it is the law that enables us to do that, not because we don't like you. I was coming on the way to this morning, and I discovered that see, most of the potholes that end up becoming like a dugout in the middle of the roads in Akure metropolis is as a result of, one, maybe bad laying of asphalt, and maybe the asphalt level is actually not thick enough. Of recent, or early this year or even late last year, we saw where the government started laying another a layer of asphalt on the already existing one, and people felt like if they are wasting resources, they should have gone to places where there were no asphalt at all. This is engineering and this is environment. Now I discovered that those small potholes, they become bigger. Why? Because those in the area do not take care of it. A lot of people wait for the government. They say the day that okay, what about the one that government has done? How do you take care of it? One of the best things you could do is, on the environmental sanitation day exercise, you could gather yourselves, get a sack, put stones inside, like gravel. If you don't have gravel, just put stones in. Tell kids in the area to just put stones and carry it to this particular spot and bury it there. And as time goes on, when Okada, bikes and other things pass over it, this thing will rhyme with the affected area, and you might not even notice that there's anything again. But people don't do that. People say leave it like that, because people are vexing for government or for state or federal government, so nobody touches anything. In the end, when people do not pass that area again and they don't frequent that area again, it affects your business, because nobody stops in front of you to buy from your shop because the road is not good. People will say don't pass there, that area used to smell, because they don't take care of the environment. Some people would build houses, and the waste water coming from their compound will leave their fence, go into another person's compound, or even on the road. If you are going along Okejebu here, we see it. Even though you didn't want to mention name earlier, we have to mention along Okejebu here, when you move, sometimes you see the wastewater coming to the roadside, and people step it again, they pass over it. Where is the environmental thing that we learnt in school, elementary classes, where they say you have to wash your hand, make sure your environment is clean? People even dispose waste anyhow. A sachet of pure water, they put it anywhere, and that one, it becomes a pile. It piles up and it goes along to block the end of the drainage, and at the end of, nobody checks that. But some people are thoughtful. When they come to their shop in the morning, they check under and they clear these things. If you clear yours, how about the next person at the other shop? Will they clear theirs as well?
See, it's even worse in the market, Halim. If you go to the market, especially your job, and now I have to be very precise, during this period, you see dirty water who could you, and you see people stepping on that water. That's because there's no gutter. But I'm glad that Ondo State government has taken a bold step, in trying to, if you visit Ojalba now, you see that they're trying to do fix gutters in those areas, and of course help them do good roads there. So this period, drainages will have the right places to go to, and then they will not have the environment messed up, because some of this water are contaminated, and when you step on them, you just contract different diseases. You see them even Halim, there are certain things I don't want to say on air. They would ease themselves and just pour it, on the road, splash it on the road, and then you don't know you just step on it. People, inhaling different kind of odors and smells in the market. But I'm glad that the Ondo State government is doing the needful, because that yesterday evening when I visited the market, I saw that work is ongoing, and that's a good one in terms of Ondo State government. We need more in other areas as well.
Verily, enforcement is key, and we know that there are people who are good Nigerians who, without waiting for the government, they know what to do, they do it. There are persons who are even popular in their area for just, wanting the right thing to be done.
Honestly.
In terms of environment. There are places, there are people that if you go in front of their houses, people say, hey, don't go there. They used to sweep their house. Don't eat, don't throw anything there. It is because those ones have become popular but not notorious for wanting their environment to be well kept and healthy. And see, all these things, has a way of promoting good health in the end. If your environment is not neat, you will fall sick easily, or when you fall sick, you might not recuperate easily.
And you are what you inhale, what you eat, the kind of smell, the kind of environment, what you take inside your body, that's what you project outside. And there are so many persons who are working and they are not too well because of, the kind of environment they find themselves in, and they've not taken effort to take care of their environment. So this is a clarion call to everyone. It's not just the government, for us to do the needful around us.
That's it. Just like we've said it, you can always join the conversation. We're live on Facebook. Search for GLOW 99.1 FM Akure. That is Glow 99.1 FM Akure. When you find it, you can drop a comment. We'll definitely read it out. It might be on any of the matters that we're going to look at today. Before we flip the page to the second aspect, where our resource person for today will speak on the subject matter. Ahead of that, we've got papers coming right after these reports, and of course we want you to always hear from us and also look at the areas where we're going through to get the matters. Then we feed you with that, then we'll break down the conversation much later. Please stay with us.
All right, let's go join Ayoda Mokwe Ogunride on this report. Please stay tuned.
In Nigeria continues to raise concerns as many pensioners struggle to make basic needs after years of service to the nation. Across the country, complaints of delayed payments, inadequate pensions, and poor living conditions remain common among retired workers. Speaking on the issue, a public affairs analyst, Lekon Olajobi, described the situation as a reflection of the state's poor prioritization of retirees' welfare.
It is unfortunate that in Nigeria, when people have put in their services, especially the federal civil service or the state civil service, or even in public, they are supposed to be given gratuity following with the pension that they are supposed to receive every month. However, this hasn't been the case owing to so many factors. Number one, the good governance that we desire and deserve. Most of the times, the government of the day always puts some priorities on some other things, much more than those people who have put in services. Without those services, there wouldn't have been any government anyway. But the government always prefers to use another scale of preference by putting them at the bottom of preference. And that has caused a lot of havoc. We have untimely deaths, depression, diseases here and there for those old people that have put in their quota into the development of this country. But I think right now the whole thing is changing gradually. And for those people who are yet to receive that gratuity, there could have been some other bureaucratic issues that may not have been, contributable to the government being indifferent to them.
In a similar vein, another analyst, Mayowa Akinola, said the treatment of retirees raises concerns about accountability and long-term planning in governance. Akinola stressed that neglecting pensioners could discourage productivity among active workers who fear uncertainty after retirement.
So when it comes to the issue of the retirees, These are men and women who have actually dedicated the greater part of their life to service, and they work diligently, contributed their quota to national growth, and help build the systems that we all benefit from today. However, it is actually disheartening to observe that many of them face serious challenges after retirement, and one of the major issues is actually the delay in payment of their entitlements. This situation raises an important question: how do we treat those who have actually served the country faithfully? So if we truly value service, then we must also value those who have served, because if we didn't do this, we are passing a wrong message to the younger generation. And what's the way forward? For me, I believe the way forward is actually to implement a timely payment of entitlement, simplification of processes, transparency and accountability.
Tari, who spoke with Glow FM, said the rising cost of living have made life increasingly difficult.
After the disengagement, the government is no longer concerned about their welfare. They are not treated fairly at all. Imagine someone retired at the age of 50 and then waiting for 10 years before getting gratuity. As I'm talking to you now, I'm yet to get my gratuity. And the value of the money is depreciating every day. So they are not treating retirees very well. But thank God, this governor is trying now. At least he has flagged off the payments for 2019.
Stakeholders say improving the welfare of retirees will require stronger policies, timely payment systems, and a renewed commitment by the government to honor its obligations. Ayodamope Ogunrinde, reporting for Glow FM.
All right, welcome back from that report. If you're just coming through, you're listening to Glow Focus on GLOW 99.1 FM Akure. That's the dial. It's your mid-morning conversation program where we look at a conversation of the nation. And of course, that was a report on the plight of retirees in Nigeria. If you're one of them, you could use the opportunity of this program to bear your thoughts on the state of affairs with you, wherever you've worked before, and also if you're in a position of authority, you'd like to make some clarification about misconceptions around the retirees, their bond, and also the various framework that they have for the collection of their savings and more. If you have parents, who are retirees, and you want to mirror their situation, you can actually get to tell us live on the program today. We now move to the issues in the dailies which we have seen across news tabloids in Nigeria. We've got the Punch newspaper, the Vanguard, the Nigerian newspaper, the Daily Post, the Daily Trust, and of course we have the Hope newspaper from Ondo State. Right in Ondo State, we've got a feature on Aida to Arrears panel on wage increase for Rufus Giwa Polytechnic that could equally make those in the academic section happier. Ondo boosts water supply with mountain top reservoir. This is one of the latest news out of Ondo State on insecurity. Afenifere seeks to crack down on internal collaborators, that is those working together with those promoting insecurity in the state. On the other story this morning, boost of water supply with mountain top reservoir. Let's let you know that Ondo State government has taken a significant step towards addressing water supply challenges in Akure metropolis with the inspection and development of a major water reservoir projects on Shebi Mountain. The Commissioner for Water Resources, Public Sanitation and Hygiene, Ayodele Akonde, stated this during an on-site inspection of the projects in Shebi community Akure on Wednesday. He revealed that the ambitious project would involve the construction of reservoir measuring approximately 7,500 by 40 meters, noting that it has been strategically located on elevated terrain to improve water distribution efficiency across the state capital. According to him, treated water will be pumped from a treatment plant at the Owena multi-purpose dam to the mountain top reservoir using powered systems. He equally added that once stored, the water would be distributed across the city through a gravity-fed system, thereby eliminating the need for continuous pumping and significantly reduced energy costs. That is seen in the Hope newspaper this morning. Let's look at some other stories that we've seen this morning in the Punch newspaper as well as the Nation newspaper. In the Nation newspaper, we've got this headline and the story: flawed federal government puts Lagos, FCT, Abuja, Ogun, 31 other states on notice. And it says on the right are 15,597 communities in 405 councils across 35 states at risk. President Bola Tinubu has called for urgent and coordinated action to address flooding nationwide. President Tinubu spoke yesterday during the unveiling of 2026 Annual Flood Outlook (AFO) by the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency (NIHSA) at the presidential villa Abuja. The president described the flooding as a persistent national threat to lives, livelihood and food production. He stressed that food prevention and control were priority under his administration's food security agenda. According to the president, interventions have been carried out in vulnerable states, including Benue, Kogi, Bayelsa, Rivers, Adamawa, noting that 2024 flood disaster in Maiduguri and the Borno state capital marked a turning point towards proactive flood management for the government. The president added that efforts which were coordinated by the office of the vice president alongside security agencies and development partners focused on prevention. And of course, you can check for that story if you'd like to know more of the states affected in the Nation newspaper. Alright, still in the Nation newspaper this morning, before I check the Punch newspaper, tributes as military buries Buraima officer, 6 soldiers killed in Borno attack. Comes at Rider Zulum, Musa CDS Oluyede, COAS YD, others bid farewell to fallen heroes. The Nigerian military has buried Brigadier General Hosseini Buraimo, Captain Azubi K. Michael Isimai, and 6 soldiers killed by terrorists in Benik Sheikh and Mongono, Borno State recently. They were laid to rest at the Mai Malari Cantonment Cemetery in Maiduguri with full military honors as family members and dignitaries gathered to bid them farewell. The ceremony was attended by Governor Babagana Zulum, Minister of Defense General Christopher Musa retired, the Chief of Defense Staff General Olufemi Oluyede, and the Chief of Army Staff Lieutenant General Waidi Shuaibu, and other high-ranking officers. The dignitaries paid a glowing tribute to the deceased, describing them as courageous and dedicated servicemen who remained resolute in the fight against terrorists. And may their souls rest in perfect peace. Also, let's look at this particular story. Police rescue man after jumping into lagoon. Tragedy was averted in Lagos on Tuesday after a 33-year-old man who jumped into the lagoon from the 3rd Milan Bridge was rescued. The victim, identified simply as Olu, was said to have driven a silver Lexus SUV and parked it at the Yaba axis of the bridge before jumping into the lagoon. Fortunately, he was spotted, and Yaba Divisional Police Officers DPO CSP Adegbemi Isiaka was alerted. The DPO was guarded and mobilized a nearby fisherman for his rescue and ensured he was immediately moved to the hospital for treatment. Sources reveal that the victim, a resident in Ibadan, Oyo State capital, drove to Lagos that day just to commit suicide. That's a sad one there. We should also commend the swiftness of the response from the
Police force.
Let's check the Punch newspaper this morning. And the Punch newspaper, stakeholders hailed NRC over 3.6 trillion naira revenue surge. Economic stakeholders on Thursday commended the Nigerian Revenue Service over the surge in government revenue, describing it as evidence that ongoing fiscal reforms are yielding positive results. The group, under the aegis of Coalition for Fiscal Justice, Economic Renewal and Public Accountability, gave the commendation in a statement issued by its national president, Dr. Cloris Nyameka. The commendation followed the federal government's disclosure that monthly revenue rose from 711 billion naira in May 2023 to 3.635 trillion naira by September 2025, while total collections increased by 6.41 trillion naira in 2021, then to 28.79 trillion naira in 2025. These are the stories in the Punch newspaper and other places. Let's look at one more story before we actually look. We give a few analysis before our with our analyst who is going to come in via the phone line. Daily Post has this one: ahead of 2027, Peter Obi meets a British High Commissioner ambassador from EU, Germany, Canada, and France. Former presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, on Wednesday held a breakfast meeting in Abuja with the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, alongside diplomats from European Union, Germany, Canada, and France. Obi disclosed the meeting in a post on his X handle, describing it as an enriching discussion on relationship. He wrote, and I quote, "Today in Abuja, I had a breakfast meeting with some diplomats that include the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, his colleagues from European Union, Germany, Canada, and France. It was an enriching discussion on relationship." End of quote. Report says that while details of the talks were not made public, the engagement comes amid growing interactions between Nigerian political actors and members of the international community. The meeting is taking place against the backdrop of early political alignment ahead of 2027 general elections. Recall that Peter Obi, who emerged as a major opposition figure in the year 2023 election, has remained active in national discourse, particularly on governance and economic reforms. These are the early stories that we have this morning. We've got Dr. Segun Akeredolu on the side, and we hope to bring him in right after this short break. Please stay with us.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. We now have our analyst, a legal luminary and a public affairs analyst, Dr. Segun Akeredolu. Glad to have you join us this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Dr. Akeredolu, are you there?
Doctor?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here with you.
Okay,
yes,
good.
thank you for accepting to talk to us on Glow Focus this morning.
All right, shall we start from the Daily Post newspaper? We've got this. Are you there, sir? Can you hear us?
The network is bad.
Okay. We might have to find.
But I can hear you now.
Okay, if you can hear me now. Let's start with this particular story from the Hope newspaper. Ondo boosts water supply with mountain top reservoir. It is said that the Ondo state government has taken a step forward with water supply challenges in Akure with an inspection and development of a water reservoir project on Shebi Mountain. The Commissioner for Water Resources, Public Sanitation and Hygiene, Ayodele Akonde, stated this during an on-site inspection. How viable would this project be if the state government completes it? Because a lot of people already have water in their compound. you know?
Well, I believe it's going to add to the welfareism agenda of this present government, and that people have water in their house sometimes might not be as reliable as the one that is coming from the state government, especially the one that is by pipe bond, because the treatment that is afforded by that, the quality that is provided, and the assurance to make sure that the water that is coming from that source is only pure and good for human consumption cannot be underrated. I think it's the best thing, and it's good for the people in those states. And don't forget, there is not everybody that has water in their house today. That's why when you're going out today along Alagbaka, you see a lot of people using even their car to try to get water that is drinkable and that is reliable. I want to say it will be a welcome development, and I'm very sure the government will see this project through.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Kiridolu. So very quickly, Peter Obi has met with British High Commission ambassadors from EU, Germany, Canada, and France. Along from the European Union, Germany. He disclosed this yesterday, and of course he wrote that he had a breakfast meeting with some diplomats, that included these persons that we have just mentioned. And recall that Obi, is a major opposition figure, was a major opposition figure in the 2023 election, and he has also still remained active, in national discourse, particularly on governance and economic reforms. What's your take on this kind of meeting with the caliber of persons he's having the meeting with in Nigeria? And again, that his party, the party is trying to join force with the ADC. They're having an internal crisis. First, I want you to tell us what this means to Nigeria, what this means to Nigeria as a country.
Well,
and of course, yes.
Well, to me, I don't think when things like this happen, it's opportunity for the world to know what is happening in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. But I know definitely they're going to put the issue of ADC into the discussion, and some of the challenges we have in Nigeria will also be discussed. However, whatever Obi is doing it in his own personal private capacity, and that will not represent the interests of Nigeria or the people of government of Nigeria. It's just Obi meeting with this individual privately as a civilian or as a Nigerian citizen, and I believe that will not do anything. However, international diplomacy, it has some telling effect in Nigeria, and even on him as a person.
Can you just tell us some of the implications? Yes, go ahead.
One of the implications is creating Nigeria in a very bad light, as in countries that have issues. Because I'm very, very sure they've threatened that go to drag Nigerian government to international United Nations for whatever reason, and I'm very sure that is one of the things they're going to discuss. But then, at the end of the day, the way they begin to look at Nigerian citizens abroad, we also have a very now in abroad, nobody trusts Nigeria. Nobody recognizes Nigerian, or they suspect every Nigerian that come across them. That's why when you get to international airports, they subject you to a lot of scrutiny, a lot of scrutiny, a lot of everything. And when they talk about Nigeria now, in most of the country in the world, they see us as drug barons, they see us as thieves, they see us as
terrorists.
It's because the way we present our nation in the public and outside the world, that is how they see us. That's how they see us.
Dr. Ake,
so it will be the meeting is will be also continue with saying.
Don't you think, these kind of meetings are equally needed side by side with, the one that the government is doing with other, international community? Because, for example, some Nigerians will say the government shows what they want the world to see. Why sometimes if you meet private individuals in Nigeria, they can show you the true picture of things without, being economical with the truth.
Let me just tell you the truth of the matter is whatever the United Nations want to gather, they don't gather it from individual citizens, but they gather it from your media space, your social space, your newspapers, your television, your radio, and everything. Then they will deploy their investigators, they investigate all these things, and they come to their conclusion, notwithstanding what your nation is giving them. So the truth of the matter is, no matter what to be saying, will not influence or change international relationship between Nigeria, because the truth of the matter is international United Nations and international agencies, they deal with the state and not with individuals. So whatever we be saying, whatever we be telling them, we just remain at the level of complaint and to not have anything. Before they act on it, they definitely call the Nigerian government to answer us or to react to those things. So more or less, to me, it's not a big deal.
All right. This morning it came out that there has been tribute for military. As they bury Buraimo, other officers, including 6 soldiers who were recently killed in Borno in the presence, of terrorists, and now they've been buried. And of course, the service chiefs were there. But as of this morning as well, there is a report on Daily Post which says child soldier recruitment deepening Nigeria's circle of violence and insecurity. So experts are warning that kids might now be getting recruited into taking arms and supporting terrorists and all of that. Let's look at those who have been buried now and how we've been able to lose some generals recently, and also the fact that children might now be suffering, being recruited into fighting.
Well, it's quite unfortunate. The security situation in Nigeria is something that is causing depression to everybody and making us very sad and making us unhappy. But I also have this, and I learned from it. The United States of America, about 2 weeks ago, when one of the military men, I think a sergeant or what they call him now, one of the pilots that was piloting one of the aircrafts that was used for an operation fell into behind enemy lines. America deployed everything possible to make sure that this individual was refrained or was retrieved and rescued from Iran government, and the cost of that operation was put as billions of dollars. Don't forget that about 3 aircrafts were grounded or destroyed. A lot of people were injured. A lot of things was done. A lot of money was spent just over one military. When we are young, let me say this again. You don't even insult a policeman, not to talk of killing a military man. When you do that, you are exposing yourself to danger. But now, if all these things, and I always ask this question, where are these people? Where are they? Where are they lodging? Is it not in Nigeria? What is the big deal? Just go to what is this place? Sambisa Forest, the enclave.
And
just go there to play whatever is going to take, and take them out. Go to the forest in what's it called, in Chokoto State, and deal with these people decisively. See, the way we are dealing with them in Nigeria, I think that is the problem. I think that's the problem. We are treating them with quick love. Whatever it is, there's something we call collateral damage, and I think that's what everybody wants to talk. But Nigeria also is a very complex situation. Look at the one that happened recently, and a lot of people, they came and they are making political statement and issue out of it, and they are saying that Nigerian military were killing innocent person. After all, the military have their target, they have their reason to approach that place, and they were giving that reason, and nobody seems to be listening. The truth of the matter is, our military also are not being encouraged. Now, a major general was killed, and people who are taking it lightly. In the United States of America, even those that did not support the war in America, all of them, everybody stood and they united, and they said this person must be rescued, whatever what it's called. But in Nigeria here, some people are even making political statements out of it, and they are trying to blame the soldier for the killing or for the death of a major or of a major general. I think that's not good enough. We should begin to distinguish between things of national interest and political interest. We don't politicize everything. I'll try to make political gain from everything. To me, if we want to fight this war, the country as a government must change their tactics. They must be very ruthless in the war. And Nigerians also should try to stop tribalizing this and making political issues out of that. That's how I want to react to that.
All right, thank you very much. Very quickly, Dr. Akere, this is going to be like a 2-in-1. The Pan-Yoruba Social Political Organization, Afenifere, they've come out to call for a decisive crackdown on internal collaborators, allegedly, hidden kidnappers, bandits, and terrorists across the country. And of course, this is rising from deliberations on security. The group gave, expressed concern over the persistence of insecurity, particularly in Yoruba land, attributing part of the challenge, to the activities of collaborators within communities and institutions. And of course, in the other news, residents have also fled Benue community over alleged repeated attacks by suspected herdsmen. Residents of Ediku, Ukogo, in Akpa local government area of Benue State. They fled their community following a series of repeated attacks reportedly carried out by suspected herdsmen. So this is not just in Yoruba land, even in the northeast, in the west, even in south, across Nigeria. And now we have residents fleeing their community. So is this not going to happen again, even in Yoruba land, when people begin to flee their community? What do you think is the way forward? How do
it's happening? It's happening in Yoruba land again. It's happening in Yoruba land already. It's happening in Kwara State. It's happening somewhere in Oshundo. Nobody is talking about that. When some individuals, they took over the land of the people, they went there, they killed, and because our people are afraid to speak the truth because of political whatever it is, it's happened here already. And after Ferry is just saying the obvious. Ferry is saying the truth. There is this Yoruba maxim that says, if the death of the house will not kill an individual, it will be difficult for external force to invade and kill that person. And that's what is playing out. That's what we are seeing in all this. Some people are also gaining from this. Some people are making merchandise out of it, in government, outside the government, and even in the military and everywhere. Some people are benefiting from the trouble we have in Nigeria. So I think this time around are very, very right, and I support them that the government should be very ruthless. Government should be very. They should do everything. What are we talking about? Most of these people, when you have this place, is it that we cannot think outside the box? When somebody kidnaps somebody and they're taking about 200 people into a forest, are you telling me that the Nigerian military cannot sit down, the Nigerian government cannot sit down and talk and see what they can do to rescue this person? These people that are kidnapping people, they're also human beings. They are human beings, and every time we complain that they hold sophisticated weapons and all that, then what is Nigeria doing with the allocation to the military? Let them equip Nigerian military. Let everybody be ready. Let's fight this war once and for all, and let's be decisive about it. I think the problem is we are not serious with this thing as a nation.
All right.
How can somebody kidnap somebody, take him to the fort, demanding for something, and it's quite unfortunate.
The latest demand was even 30 million naira of the video that has gone viral, and major news tabloids have even taken that. A core member was also badly affected or even killed by that, where they were demanding for ransom and all of that. So I think, just like you have said, the Nigerian state will swing to action and make sure that people are brought back home safely. In the Vanguard newspaper this morning, Dr. Shegun Akeredolu, Dangote Group have debunked a claim that Tinubu government earns from every bag of cement. The Dangote Group has dismissed as false a viral claim alleging that the administration of President Bola Tinubu earns revenue from every bag of cement sold. And of course, the claim circulated on Facebook and was attributed to Africa's richest man, Aliko Dangote, which stated that previously that Tinubu's government takes 52 kobo from every one a cement bag by Dangote, and now they have said no, that is not happening. Are we sure that these things are actually not playing out? Because governments sometimes, or people in government, buy shares.
I don't think any reasonable human being or Nigerian, and let me say this with all sense of humility, respect, and respect to anybody that should believe that kind of a story. But the truth of the matter is, this thing has been around now for about 4 days. And if Dangote is just coming out to prove that, it's quite unfortunate. And the thing is trending even as of this morning. I mean, the allegation is trending this morning, but I'm shocked that nobody is trending the reply of Dangote. The truth of the matter is, in a situation like this, Nigerians want to hear what they want to hear and not the truth of the matter. So you might continue to do whatever you want to do. Propaganda thrives better in Nigeria than reality, and that's the problem. That's one of the problems we're having. A lot of Nigerians are disinformed without something like this, and I can assure you, the Nigerian government will not do anything about that. If anybody posting that kind of information that is sufficient to cause crisis, economic crisis in Nigeria, and to cause disdain against the government, then I think the government should have taken necessary steps to get this person arrested immediately and deal with him decisively. These are the things that make people to be so very angry with Nigeria and get angry to the point that some people are even calling on military to take over Nigeria and all that. And when situation begins to get to that point, and the president is not doing anything, I read the story and I read the way an individual was also reacting to the story and was saying, let the military will come and take care and all that. And the government has not done anything about that. I think we have a lot of problems. We have a lot of issues in Nigeria. And some of them, they are born out of ignorance.
All right.
Very quickly,
okay.
Dr. Akeredolu, let's talk about flood. Federal government have come out to put Lagos, FCT, Ogun, 31 other states on notice. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is calling for urgent and coordinated action to address flooding nationwide. And of course, he spoke yesterday during the unveiling of the 2026 Annual Flood Outlook AFO by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency, at the Presidential Villa Abuja. He's describing the flood as a persistent national threat to lives, livelihoods, and food production, which is very obvious. And he's stressing that flood prevention, and control were priority under his administration's food security agenda. I just want to ask you, Dr. Akeredolu, do you really think that, the president coming out to stress that flood prevention and control are really a priority under this administration? Do you think so? Do you agree with him based on status quo?
Let me quickly answer this and say that there is another Yoruba proverb that says that war ordinarily will not kill a war that is announced beforehand will not kill a white somebody who cannot run very fast. I don't want to sound sensitive to some Nigerians. Yeah, the implication of that is the government has been shouting this, and the government has been shouting this for not today, not last week, not last month, not last year. They've been saying this constantly. People keep building on waterways. People keep dumping waste where they should not dump waste. People still do a lot of things. And I've said this so many times that we have to follow the building laws and public health law in Ondo State, for example, and in Nigeria. Majority of the houses that we have in Nigeria, because a lot of them were built where they should not be built, they are built without following the law and the rules and regulations. They are built without approval and all that. And when you begin to take steps to maybe correct this abnormality, people begin to shout. For example, in Lagos State Lagos State government came and said, no, you are building some houses where they should not be without approval. And people begin to argue that when they are paying tax, were they not accepting the tax from them? When they are doing this, were they not doing that? At the end of the day, what the government do? The government will have to step down a little and allow people to do. And the repercussion of it, most of the time, is flood. And when this happens, we begin to blame the government. I'm not saying the government is not also at rate or at faulty. How once you know that somebody is building where it should not build, as a government, I think the best thing to do is to make sure that building is not completed or it's not gotten to a point where everybody begins to look at it and be shouting Ajewo and all this. These are the problems we have in Nigeria. And I always say it's not that our problem in Nigeria is not that we don't have law, but the majority of our laws are not enforced.
All right. Before we let you go, Dr. Segun Akeredolu, in the Daily Trust newspaper, he came out this morning that CSO are urging stakeholders to support INEC chairman. Civil society organization Action for Accountability and Good Governance have actually called on stakeholders to support INEC chairman, Professor Josh Amukwiton. They said that on Wednesday in Abuja. The person in charge said Amukwiton has demonstrated competence, transparency and credibility, integrity in the discharge of his constitutional mandate under section 154(1) of the Nigerian 1999 constitution. Do you express the same feeling that the INEC chairman needs a lot of moral support for him to be able to do his job?
Well, the problem again is not what anybody is saying, but what the perception of people that are considered to not have benefited or that they believe. No, anything you are saying now, you cannot say it to ADC members, they will not listen to you. You cannot say it to PDP, they will not listen to you. You cannot say it to NERAB or what they call them, these Muslim associations that are saying that should be removed because he did a research sometime that they believe is not in line with Islam and all that. They will not listen to you. So I don't know. I don't have any position about this. Let me just say that. But I think that Nigeria, we should begin to look at the bigger pictures rather than peculiar selfish interests.
All right. Thank you very much for your time and, of course, insightful analysis on the program this morning, sir.
Thank you so very much. But let me just say this: rather than saying that INEC should be supported, I think we should begin to make we should need to make advocacy that no matter what, we should try to understand the government and support the government when they are doing the necessary thing. Now the state government is talking about water for people. I think we should also support the government and make sure that is also possible. Thank you very much for having me on your program, and I want to appreciate you for that. And I pray God will continue to bless Nigeria and make it a better place for every one of us.
Amen to the prayers. That was Dr. Segun Akeredolu on a session with us. You can join the conversation and bear your thoughts on any of the stories read. But remember, you and ourselves have to be very, very civil during this particular exchange. You can, say what's on your mind, but you really have to be civil about it without necessarily attacking any institution of state or individual, because you must have facts and figures, to back up in case you have claims. All right, studio lines are open on 0805 551 1110
or 0706677182. Remember, if you do not go with arrows, we will not hesitate to cut the call. We're live on Facebook at Glow 99.1 FM Akure. Be diplomatic in your comments. Do not say insightful ones. Do not make insightful comments. Abide by the rules, and of course, we'll give you the privilege to speak as much as you want. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Can you hear us?
Good morning.
Yeah.
What's your name?
I can hear you. Good morning. My name is Ikechukwu.
Okay.
Ikechukwu,
I'm calling from Akure.
All right. Glad to have you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Please, I just want to point out, but I know everybody are entitled to their opinion in some cases. But I will actually like if you're going to bring in somebody for something like this, I think you shouldn't bring somebody who is partisan. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Who is partisan?
So, yeah. Like this, is it Dr. Akeredolu or so?
Which party does he belong to?
I don't know.
So how do you know he's partisan?
Knows, but with the way he sounds partisan, and that is why that is just what I want to show you.
That's that's actually your opinion, and basically that might be correct and that might not be correct. So what are your own thoughts about what we've read so far?
And it is important to also let you know that please do not react to another caller's comment or our analyst comment. Just go straight to your point. Say what you think is right for us to do, or what the nation can do to make it a better place for everyone. Hello, good morning.
Hello,
good morning. Could you please turn down the volume of your listening device?
Oh, well, basically, we're here because of you, and we want to hear you. We also want to be heard. Even if you even going to counter another person's comment, you must come with facts, because the person might have said something that is not correct, and you might actually want to correct that and give us a more viable information. You can always debate anyone just in case there is a need to, but if it is not necessary, just tell us your own opinion. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Your name and where you're calling from, sir?
I'm Mr. Olu calling from Uta Junction.
Let's have your take.
I want to center my own discussion on Obi. Obi is too ambitious. I don't know why somebody can be so ambitious like that. National issue cannot be handled by one person. Obi inviting these foreigners for dinner, for breakfast, and discussing sensitive security issues that can only be handled by the president.
Have you seen the issues discussed? Because in the story that we read, we said that the issues of discussions were not made public.
Open. Yes.
But he has no right whatsoever to invite these people, because these people were not in the country because of him.
How do you mean?
He was not.
How do you mean he doesn't have the right?
Diplomatic, he does not have the right. If you don't know, ask.
No, you should tell us why he doesn't have the right. You should be able to tell us why he does not have the right to invite these persons. These are some of his colleagues, coming to
you now that he does not have the right.
How do you mean?
National issue to these people.
How do you know he discussed national issues?
How many issues were discussed? What was it about? Who were mentioned? You see, that's the thing, and that's why some of us are here, to gatekeep, just to do our job, and we just talked about one thing, and another one is actually happening. We sincerely even you just called now. We love the fact that you were able to call to make known your opinion, so that we can correct you if you're making mistakes, and if we make mistakes as well, you can then it is also part of your own duty to say, oh, this is it. And you just concluded that somebody discussed particular, you said sensitive national issues, and in the papers that we read, he said no issue was disclosed.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Yes, I call it Adelsi.
Thanks for joining us.
That was the time in 1999 when MTA just came in. There was a rumor that the president there, the former president there, was collecting certain amount from the charge of MTA card. And it came to pass that was true. Not until now when we are saying that maybe the presidency or the federal government is collecting certain money from the bag of cement we are buying. Let the journalists and other people let us make a research inquiry into this allegation. Why is our cement so costly than what is obtainable in Ghana? Why? Because the federal government is putting certain amount of taxes and other things on that cement. Why is it so costlier than that of Ghana? Look at our oil too. Look at the amount. Look at we are purchasing oil now, the fuel for almost 1,004. In Ghana, it was just a little bit of money that they were having. Is it not because of the imposition of so many fines and so many taxes and other things that are import duties that is making all this unbearable to the common Nigerians? The federal government should be able to be humane enough to have pity for Nigerians. They should have pity for us. We are not enjoying anything. Subsidy is gone, everything. What are we really enjoying from the government? Nothing. No road, nothing. No electricity, everything continues to be deteriorated. It's very continues to interfere on Nigeria.
All right, you just made known your own concerns there. Let's hope that actors of states, especially in the government, are listening and they are noting all these things down, because as a citizen, you have the right to bear your thoughts on any issue at all, as it bothers you. What you cannot do is to make claims that are unfounded or attack institutions or persons in the society. And thank God that we're beginning to understand that. You can also call any of our studio lines to be part.
Hello, good morning.
You are blessed, man.
Good morning, amen. What's your name?
Amen, thank you.
Please
Many thanks for joining us.
I support the last caller. I told you earlier, this government has nothing to offer us.
Mr. Ayelabola, can you do something for us? Can you move away from the radio on the background so that it does not echo? Thank you. Go ahead, please.
If you look at the system they operate in Nigeria, it's for the benefit of the rich, not for the poor. What are we gaining now? What is our gain? The only thing they needed from us is our thumbprint, just to vote for them. Thereafter, nothing. They don't have any benefit for us. Nothing. So, my brother, let us just be praying. They don't have anything in mind. If you should vote these people in again.
Do you think prayer? Do you think prayer has been solving problems since time immemorial, or you think there's need for a decisive action?
Yes. Let me just say, if not because of the saints, because of the prayer we offer in this country will have been forgotten since. People said prayer doesn't. Our prayer is being answered by God. Otherwise, look at what is happening all over. Oh God, my brother, if without prayer there will be no Nigeria.
All right.
Those who can pray, let them continue praying. They should not criticize anybody that is praying for Nigeria. We will continue to be praying.
Thank you.
Understand? God will remove evil people from us.
All right, thank you very much for your comments and of course for calling us Ayelabola there, and that wraps it up on the first segment on the program. We're going to short break now, and when we return, we're going to listen to the report again, and then we bring in our analyst to help us dissect the issue of discourse for today. Our focus for today, the welfare of retirees and attitude of the Nigerian state. Please stay tuned.
You're on to GF. Glow Focus, your mid-morning conversational magazine show on 99.1 FM, Akure. Rise to the peak of your morning with Glow Focus on 99.1
This
FM.
is Random Facts.
Solar energy adoption is rising because fuel and electricity costs are high. Humans can't see most light in the universe because our eyes detect only a small visible spectrum. You feel pain quickly because nerves send fast signals to the brain.
The welfare of retirees in Nigeria continues to raise concerns as many pensioners struggle to meet basic needs after years of service to the nation. Across the country, complaints of delayed payments, inadequate pensions, and poor living conditions remain common among retired workers. Speaking on the issue, a public affairs analyst, Lekon Olajobi, described the situation as a reflection of the state's poor prioritization of retirees' welfare.
It is unfortunate that in Nigeria, when people have put in their services, especially the federal civil service or the state civil service, or even in public, they are supposed to be given gratuity following with the pension that they are supposed to receive every month. However, this hasn't been the case owing to so many factors. Number one, the good governance that we desire and deserve. Most of the times, the government of the day always puts some priorities on some other things, much more than those people who have put in services. Without those services, there wouldn't have been any government anyway. So, but the government always prefers to use another scale of preference by putting them at the bottom of preference. And that has caused a lot of havoc. We have untimely deaths, depression, diseases here and there for those old people that have put in their quota into the development of this country. So, but I think right now the whole thing is changing gradually. And for those people who are yet to receive that gratuity, there could have been some other bureaucratic issues that may not have been, contributable to the government being indifferent to them.
In a similar vein, another analyst, Mayowa Akinola, said the treatment of retirees raises concerns about accountability and long-term planning in governance. Akinola stressed that neglecting pensioners could discourage productivity among active workers who fear uncertainty after retirement.
So when it comes to the issue of the retirees, these are men and women who have actually dedicated the greater part of their life to service, and they work diligently, contributed their quota to national growth, and help build the systems that we all benefit from today. However, it is actually disheartening to observe that many of them face serious challenges after retirement, and one of the major issues is actually the delay in payment of their entitlement. This situation raises an important question: how do we treat those who have actually served the country faithfully? So if we truly value service, then we must also value those who have served, because if we didn't do this, we are passing a wrong message to the younger generation. And what's the way forward? For me, I believe the way forward is actually to implement a timely payment of entitlement, simplification of processes, transparency and accountability.
Tari, who spoke with Glow FM, said the rising cost of living have made life increasingly difficult.
After the disengagement, the government is no longer concerned about their welfare. They are not treated fairly at all. Imagine someone retired at the age of 50 and then waiting for 10 years before getting gratuity. As I'm talking to you now, I'm yet to get my gratuity. And the value of the money is depreciating every day. So they are not treating retirees very well. But thank God, this governor is trying now. At least he has flagged off the payments for 2019. Correct.
Stakeholders say improving the welfare of retirees will require stronger policies, timely payment systems, and a renewed commitment by the government to honor its obligations. Ayo Damope Ogunrinde, reporting for Glow FM.
Thank you very much for staying tuned. Joining us now is General Secretary, Nigeria Civil Service Union, National Secretary, Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council, Trade Union side, and a member Central Working Committee of the Nigeria Labour Congress, Comrade Oluwo. I hope I got that correctly, Benga. Thank you very much for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you for having me, and good morning to all listeners.
All right. So
thank you for joining us.
So very quickly, we are going to give you a rundown of the topic of discourse for today, and we are so glad that you're aware of what is happening at the moment in the nation. So today, we're talking about the people who served this country for 35 years. They get thanked with hunger, arrears, and endless verification exercises. Nigerian retirees, to be precise, teachers, police officers, civil servants, many can't afford drugs, rent, or even food. Pension is delayed for months, gratuities unpaid for years. Some die on queues waiting for what they earned. Is this how they should be treated? Is this how senior citizens should be treated? What does it say about the Nigerian state that we celebrate workers on May the 1st but abandon them at 60? And of course, these and many more are things that we'll be looking at on the program today. So once again, thank you very much, Comrade Benga, for accepting to talk to us on Glow Focus.
Thank you for extending your invitation to me. I'm happy. I'm extremely excited to be part of this conversation.
All right. So recently you wrote an article on the life of Nigerian pensioners, and I'm going to take that very quickly shortly. You did say that the life of Nigerian pensioners after service to their fatherland in whatever capacity or at whatever level is expected to depict above quoted perspective from an anonymous but in the Nigeria epicenter work after service. The reverse is always the case. Now, in Nigeria, life after service, be it in the public or private sectors, it is always very miserable, entangled unimaginably, though full of despair, disappointment, and disillusionment due to total collapse in our societal ecosystem that's supposed to look after the life of retirees after serving their fatherland with younger active part of their lives. And you said there is no doubting the fact that federal government has not pretended not to have fair love and deeper thoughts for pensioners, which culminated into the movement from the defined benefit scheme to contributory pension scheme CPS policy. And you added that we are not oblivious of the fact that federal government enacted the contributory pension scheme in 2004 via Act of Parliament to replace the defined benefit scheme, and it was further reenacted via Pension Reform Act 2014 to ensure a fair deal for pensioners by increasing the payable contributions of employer from 8% to 10% and retained contributions by employees at 8%. So I want to ask you, Comrade Benga, is that very correct from what you wrote recently that was published yesterday?
Exactly. You actually captured it, and it was an opinion expressed by me, basically because of the residual knowledge I have in respect of the defined benefit arrangement and the Contribution Pension Scheme Act, which actually was enacted to give what we call a soft landing for the life and the after service life of retirees. But like I have said in that particular article, the reverse is presently the case.
Thank you. So that brings me to this question for you. What does a typical retiree face in Nigeria today? Federal, state, and local government?
It's a situation of abandonment. Because one thing I come to realize in Nigeria's system is that once you are relevant, they make use of you. Once you are out of relevance, they abandon you as a used item, an item that is no more relevant, that is no more valuable, and that is the way Nigeria's system treats a pensioner or retirees. And that is why you can now realize that the way and manner Nigerian retirees are being treated is as good as the mindset of our leaders. You know, the political class will use you and dump you. Even an average human being will use you, and once you have a good friend who you had value to his life, after adding that value to his life, he abandons you. And that is the system we are operating in Nigeria. And unfortunately, you know, the set of workers that had served their fatherland for at least 35 years and getting to the age of 60 years, you know, after that, it becomes receding. What we call the law of equilibrium. Because once you are 60 years, it's only by the grace of God that you can still have the energy you have when you started the work at the age of 25 or 30. So everybody believes that an average retiree is no more useful. And unfortunately, it is not always like that, because most of the people that are politicians today, most of them are pensioners, they are retirees. Only that they are very fortunate to belong to a political class or otherwise. So what am I trying to say is that if Mr. A, who is a retiree, is not a politician or is not influential, he should not be abandoned. He should not be abandoned. So these are the issues, and that is my perspective about how pensioners are going through trauma, are going through just like it's an inflicted system, a system that inflicts pain to the retirees, and it's very bad.
All right, comrade, thank you very much for your insight and even the excerpt from the article that you published. As of April this year, 2026, the Ondo State government under Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has prioritized retirees' welfare by disbursing 2.5 billion naira in gratuity arrears for 2018 and 19 beneficiaries. I mean, is this enough? Though including 1.4 billion for local government retirees in 2025. How well has the government done, you know, towards disbursement of bonds and also retirees in the state? Or do you think there are, you know, other areas where, you know, they can actually improve on what to do?
And I also want you to make this, you know, even at the national, maybe we will begin from the national level first, comrade.
Thank you for adding what you call addendum to the question raised by the man beside you. Number one, the issue of retiree treatment at national level. In my article, I even put it there that when the president of Nigeria addressed the issue, he approved 32,000 minimum wage to pensioners. And you know, before now, we have some set of pensioners who are receiving as low as 3,000 and as low as 4,000 naira. But he lifted it. He lifted it to 32,000 minimum pension payment to pensioners. That's number one. Number two, there is a 8 million as a way to address this issue of outstandings.
Okay.
You know, on the basis of that, I want to subscribe to the idea that government is able to realize that there is need to address the fate and the plight of pensioners. And that is an area where I want to challenge the sub-states. We have some states that are owing as much as billions of naira. You pointed out on those states.
We have to try and get back to
reconnect with
our analyst this morning. I mean, he's also been very vocal about the welfare of pensioners in Nigeria and how, you know, he thinks some of them have been discarded, you know, maybe after years of service. And they are elder statesmen and women, and we even sitting here, we believe that they still have a lot to contribute to the society at large. Because, you know, we cannot just have, you know, we can't go about not having elders in the society who have worked over the years, who have also led the way to the many things that have been enjoyed by young people in Nigeria. We've got a comment on Facebook in the meantime. Sharif Bello says, he previously said on the issue of environment, dispositions to keep it clean, it still comes down to a leader and willingness. Then he said on the issue of gratuity is to invest in bulk of the money on ventures profitable. Back in the days, some civil servants used to. Okay, I think we have a caller now.
Okay. Hello. Good morning.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
Yes, my name is Okeke.
Okay.
Okay, many thanks for joining us, Okeke.
Yes, I'm calling you now. I'm in Cathedral, dude.
Okay.
Please go ahead.
Comment. Yes, let me comment on the minimum wage of arrears. People who has worked for Nigeria many years ago, but now they don't have the power again, and they go and they sit in the house and they receiving their gratuity. I want to tell our comrades, how much are they paying them? How many people have received their minimum wage for more than 2 to 3 years now? Are you hearing me?
Yeah, we're with you.
How much are they paying them? These are people who go and fight war. We have soldiers, retired soldiers. We have police. We have our many. How much are they paying them? 30,000. Some are they are paid 60,000. The other one they are paying 35,000. I want to ask comrade how much that 30,000 is going to give them. What are they going to use that 30,000 for? Is it to buy? Hello, can you hear me?
We're with you, of course. We're with you.
Those
questions are for the analyst, and we'll definitely ask him that.
Yes, I want to ask our analyst.
All right.
You are paying them 30,000, 35,000, 60,000. I want to ask comrades, what are they going to use that money for? Is it one bag of rice? Is it school fees of their children? Is it to go and they buy clothes or pay house rent? Some they even have a house for themselves.
Thank you very much, Mazi Okeke, for dropping your own opinion. Would forward the questions to the analyst, and definitely is going to attend to them.
Let me see how much. Let me hear what he's going to say.
All right.
What are they going to be using this money for? Can he buy one bag of rice or pay school fees?
All right.
Yes, let me.
Thank you. Please hang on and stay with us while we reach back we reach out again to the analyst to submit on what he was saying and also have your questions to him. Hello, sir. Are you there, sir?
Comrade, are you there?
Yes. Kindly submit on what you were saying about the figures and what national governments can actually do to improve this, because one of our callers, Mazi Okeke, has some questions for you. He's asking to know how much retirees are supposed to earn on the basic level,
and the one they are earning at the moment, is it enough to cater for their needs?
Well, first and foremost, like I told you before now, what pensioners are earning, the minimum you are earning, we have people that are earning 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 naira. But presently, the federal government has approved the minimum pension payment, just like minimum wage, minimum pension payment to retirees to the tune of 32,000 naira. And states like Rivers State has started the payment of such money, of that minimum pension payment, but I'm not aware of any other state that has commenced. And that is more reason why it is very traumatizing for a retiree to be earning 5,000, 2,000, 3,000. You are asking me a question about those states, whether he has tried or he has not tried. Well, you cannot commend anybody. Personally, I will not commend any state governor, because you need to look at the total amount of money that are needed to offset the gratuities of all these pensioners. Let them come out, let those states come out with the total amount that is needed to pay off this gratuity to all the pensioners. And let other states come out with total amount needed. Let them come out and let them now synergize and tell Mr. President that they need bailout to pay off all these gratuities to all the pensioners. Do you expect somebody who had retired almost 10 years ago, who is keen up to get his money and he has not got to his year of retirement, to wait till when he dies before he collects his gratuity? I think our leaders should be reasonable and be responsive enough to know how to address this issue, because Retirement is a sequential arrangement for any living mortal that he knows or she knows that she must retire one day. Either you are a public office holder, either you are a public servant, either you are a private sector worker, either you are a self-employed worker, you must retire one day. So if you are there today, some of these political office holders are handing several allowance. They collect several payments, whereas the retirees collect peanuts to death. The gratuity that's supposed to be used as a lifeline for the survivor is not paid.
All right.
So I want to believe that let me submit. I want to suggest that there is need for bailout. Let them declare state of emergency in the pension sector.
Scheme.
Let the federal government come out with a bailout fund that will actually assist all the state governments to pay off the outstanding gratuities to all the pensioners.
All right. Thank you very much, comrade. PenCom has come out to say that only 11 states are fully compliant, with the contributive pension scheme as of 2025. Now, I want to ask, what happens to retirees in the other 25 states and the FCT? And we've also seen pensioners collapse during verification exercise. We've seen the video; it's all over the internet. Why is proof, or what is the proof? That's why is proof you are alive kind of thing, That's why they do the verification,
I am alive.
And still a quarterly ordeal in 2020. Why is it still going on, despite us seeing that video of people, collapsing during these exercises, and they're still, going on with that? Why that proof that you are alive, exercise, and it's still a quarterly ordeal in 2026? Why do we still have this going on?
Well, anytime you ask me a question, you always make it three instead of one question. So I must take it. Excuse me.
Pardon us.
One by one.
Yes.
Excuse me. I must take it one by one.
Please go ahead.
Go ahead,
You are
comrade.
talking about out of 36 states, including the FCT.
Yeah.
Only 11 states are compliant based
yes.
on PenCom revelation.
Yes.
Okay. Are we now saying that PenCom has no power as provided in the CPS Act to penalize the defaulting state? All the penalties are there. What has PenCom done to ensure that all these states are made to face the music of not complying? Or are they pampering them? Or are we saying the law is not potent enough to take care of pensioners' welfare? So these are issues, and like I've told you, the elite, they have a way of pampering themselves and protecting themselves. PenCom cannot say that they don't have the provisions in the PenCom Act to ensure that they take the defaulting states to court. Like Ogun State started this. Ogun State started the defaulting spree when for several months they deduct from workers, they did not even deduct from government, and they refused to remit the one deducted from workers, running to 85 billion naira. What have they done? Has PenCom take Ogun State government to court? The penalties are there. Only Lagos State have been so reasonable enough. In fact, the Lagos State started the implementation of CPS when the law was made, and today the reference point. And those states equally joined the good wagon where they established a transition platform where workers move from the whole system to new system. I think there's a pension board there in Akure where the system is working very well. But what we are saying is that the state government, they are all guilty of their insensitive nature to the life of pensioners across the country. And the concern I have about this particular sector is because an average worker today will become a pensioner tomorrow. It's a sequential system where nobody can escape once God spare our life.
All right, very quick, just before Halim takes over, because it's still, in line of this thought and, of course, questions and answers. I'd like to ask you, what's the difference in suffering between the DBS? Because you mentioned CPS. What's the difference in suffering between DBS retirees pre-2004 and those under CPS? Who has it worse?
Well, the difference between is that a defined benefit scheme is a system where you work till 35 or 60 withdrawal comes, then they work your gratuity, then you collect pension monthly. But the CPS, it's a system that makes a worker to contribute a quota of 8% of his basic, while the employer contributes 10% of his or her basic the basic of his employee. And at the end of the day, after retirement, then the pension fund administrator, which is PFA, because as you are a worker, once you key into CPS, you must have a pension fund administrator who will be taking care of your money. Once your money is deducted, your 8% and 10% from your employer, they remit it to the PFA who manages the money for you. But as you retire, you will now file your paper through your PFA, who will now work out what you have contributed. And that is an aspect that brings us to where I now suggested that presently the law provides that a worker who subscribes to CPS will be entitled to 25% of his total contribution, while the remaining will be spread for a specific year. Before it was 10 years, but we now said, okay, if you are even spreading it when the person will leave, then it means that person may not have less than 50, depending on what you contributed. But what we are saying is that instead of short-changing the contributor by giving them 25% of what they have contributed, make it 50%. For instance, if Mr. A had contributed 10 million, and after retirement, they will now pay him 2.5 out of the 10 million. That's 25%. Make it 55 million, which is 50%, so that the lump sum can be useful to that person. He can decide to invest it on what he intends to do, or he might have even had a platform where he's doing his business. By the time he injects as much as 5 million to that business, he will know that something has entered into that business. But unlike a system where you have 2.5 million, it's 2.5 million in Nigeria today, that is for free. You buy rice, buy this, and that will be useless for you. It won't have a capital base for you to even move forward. So these are issues, these are the difference between DBS and CPS. So the government, that's why I commended the federal government, because Obasanjo had a deeper thought for the pensioners that, okay, let the workers have a stake. Once you have a stake, you'll be sincere. But unfortunately, the pension fund administrator, I'm talking about people that are appointed to manage this fund, they have not been godly enough to ensure that the life of pensioners are given priority over their own selfish interest.
All right, thank you very much, Comrade Gwengaloyo. I want us to look at some other things. Some of us have elderly persons, who will be retiring soon, and some who have retired already. And most times too, you get concerned that, okay, these persons have given a lot to the family, to their colleagues, and also this Nigerian society. But when they're about to wind down, on their career, you see the need to, want to support them on all of that. But it saddens my heart, and maybe people at home too sometimes, when you see people who have worked so much and get stressed, and sometimes you see them beg around, and it shatters the spirit. So basically, it makes me also look at the other side of it and ask this question. Apart from the contributory that retirees have done during active years, how about because you seem to be very interested in their plight, how about we remind them to equally invest in what could turn around, in terms of money for them later in years? Even those in the Nollywood section who are not, government workers, and we in the private sector as well, people tend to want to see us, set things aside so that we can take care of ourselves later, even if we do not benefit that as much as civil servants in Nigeria. Are there ways, or do you have some calls or some articles you've done as well to chastise people who will soon become retirees on what they have done to save up for the rainy days?
Thank you. That question is a very brilliant one, because if you look at the last part of my article, the one you refer to,
yes, sir,
you realize that there are too many suggestions that were put forward there, And this is not the first time, and it's not going to be the last. We have advocated for a financial training, a training system where those that are still working now will be able to think, towards their future after retirement. But one thing I want us to understand is that even those that are working today, that is one reason why, as a trade unionist, we always advocate for what we call a financial study for workers. You talk about minimum wage, you talk about living wage, you talk about salary, you talk about allowances, you talk about opportunities. Those that are ruling us, do they give us the chance? Do they even have our interest at heart? Because these are issues. If you look at the system, the societal, in fact, I was to start by saying that the societal problem or problems have not been able to give workers the opportunity to even think of how their life will be after service. Because when you look at it today, we parents of this generation, we have been facing challenges of what we call sending our children to educate to school, doing so many responsibilities that were being shared by government before are now solely on parents. See how much you are paying for your work's school fees. See house rent. See feeding. The economic realities of today will not even give any worker to think of what is going to come back to after retirement.
Comrades,
that is why
don't you think? Don't you?
Talk about that problem.
All right. Don't you think that the present elders, especially who have retired now, don't you think they had enjoyed so much before? Because Nigeria, is worse than it was during your A days. A lot of Nigerians will say that, or we might not say worse, but Nigeria, was is somehow now, and before maybe life was a bit easier for people economically. Don't you think people of your set had enjoyed a lot when Nigeria, was when we're buying things at regular prices, but now the prices have skyrocketed, and even young people are asking questions.
Well, your question is depicting that is making a point reference to me as a person.
People of your caliber. Elder statesmen.
I'm seeing the active service. That's why I want you to get it right.
Okay.
I'm not a pensioner.
I know. At least an elderly person. A lot of persons in your category have retired, and thank God you are still there and you are still trying to make things right.
I'm still qualified to be a worker. I've not reached a retirement age.
Okay.
So your narrative is very relative, and I want to believe that. Let's look at it from the angle we have been discussing. I'm an active worker.
Okay.
I'm still an active worker, and I've told you ab initio that retirement is a sequential arrangement. It's a sequential process. An active worker today will be a retired person tomorrow.
Of course.
So even if I'm running away from the fact that I'm not yet retired, definitely a sequence of time will come when years of service will catch up with me. Just like you, just like my younger sister there.
Yes, sir.
So what am I saying? I'm only bringing in that as a lighter discussion.
Okay.
But on a more serious note, I want to believe that when you are comparing yesterday years with this year, with this present economic experience, it's incomparable, because those people that we tell you during their days, they went to school with scholarship. They were students and they were earning scholarship, and they were even using that money to even send their younger ones to school. Then what of today, where you cannot, the salary you are getting is not even enough for you to take care of your family, not to even sponsor your children to school. So we have to be realistic in our approach.
Okay.
Our focus our focus is on what can government do to give pensioners a better life. Nobody should come here, or no state government should come here and tell us and begin to pay policies with what is paying now. We are talking about, let them come up with total amount that the state government is showing. Let's look at some of those things as a case study. If the total money needed to pay off gratuities of all retired persons is let's say 12 billion, let him come out and tell us. Ekiti State should tell us. Oyo State should tell us Abia State will tell us. So let them meet at the Nigerian Governance Forum and compare notes on how can they bail out the pensioners from this precarious and terrible situation in their lifestyle after retirement. If the total money is 1 trillion, let them present to the president and let them request for bailouts. Let them use this money and pay off all the pensioners. It's not a good thing for somebody to come up and begin to play politics with the life of pensioners.
All right.
It won't subscribe to that.
Okay.
All right.
Let me tell you one thing. I was able to be familiar with the position of NUP Southwest, where they said that they may be compelled to sue some of these governors to court. And they have the power, they have the reason, they have good point to make to sue them to court.
All right, comrade.
If they are not responsible and are not responsive enough to take care of the life of people that have served this country with their last blood.
All right, comrade, that brings me to this question. I mean, it is in the record that governors pay ex-political office holders severance immediately, but all teachers and other, civil servants, 10 years gratuity. Now, I want to ask you, who is to blame? Is it the federal government? Is it state? Is it PenCom? Is it PFAs or corruption in pension offices? What's your take? Who do you think is to be blamed here?
Okay, that's your question. It's a very probing one. I will start by using the concept of conspiracy. Like I told you, excuse me, I must tell you now that the system we are operating in this country is a conspiracy system where the elite, the group of elite, know how to take care of themselves. And when Mr. A will say this is that, Mr. B is this is that, belongs to the elite class. They know the way to pay themselves up. And that's why they came up with the concept severance allowance payment. Those that belong to that class, they know how to pay themselves. If you as a journalist today, you are appointed as a commissioner tomorrow, if you spend XYZ month or year there, after leaving, you get a severance allowance. Even if somebody who has spent 30 years in service, and somebody who just spent 4 years in public service, he gets several allowance. Where somebody who has spent 30 years, we have to queue for the payment of gratuity, which is not forthcoming. And that is why I'm advocating it, and you have to highlight it in your subsequent program that there must be a bailout for all state government to pay off the gratuities, outstanding gratuities of pensioners across the country. And that is the best way, because when you look at pensioners, the plight of pensioners, even what I captured in my article is just a tip of the iceberg, because I wouldn't want it to be like a booklet. Okay. That's why I was able to limit myself to what I wrote. But I have done a thorough research. I took my pay because I realized that I am General Secretary of the Nigerian Civil Service on today, and the welfare of workers who are still serving is paramount to the union, and which we are working towards, and we have been working to the best of our ability. But at the same time, you know that among the workers, there are potential retirees among them. And that is why we are looking at it from an angle where we can start the issue now, not until when they get to that class of retirement.
So that they can benefit.
That class of pensioners. That we are looking at it. How can we? It's supposed to be a system, a process. And that is why it appears as if personally I'm passionate about it. Government, like I've said, I want to repeat it because repetition means emphasis.
All right.
And emphasis itself means relevance. That there is need for all the Nigerian Governance Forum to come up with the total amount of outstanding gratuities in their respective states. Let the federal government know that these are the issues they are facing, and let them request as a common front for a bailout.
All right, very quickly, comrade. Based on all of this, we have developing questions. Yeah, and of course, you did say that they know how to pay the elites well. But military, based on status quo now, military and police retirees protest more than others. Are security retirees treated worse or just more organized? What's your take on this?
They recently protested.
Well, I've told you, we are students of history. I won't be able to copiously quote plateau theory of the society.
Okay.
The society, takes care of the military than the civilian. because they believe they belong to the same class of elite like politicians. So there's no way. In fact, can you even compare your a public servant, let me say a civil servant gratuity with that of military? It's incomparable. You can't compare it. And that is one reason why an average discerning mind will tell you that the civil servant class are being treated as second-rate worker in Nigeria. And that is one reason why the system is becoming so abysmally poor in terms of service delivery, and workers are doing their best to ensure that there is a maximum and optimal service delivery to the populace. But our political class, they even devote more money to politics than the corporate governance, and that is why you can see that anybody can contribute 10 billion to organize whatever, be it convention, be it primaries, whereas in any system where it's concerned the humanity, how much will they contribute? That is the question.
Okay.
It might sound hypothetical, and it might always sound rhetorical, but that's the question.
Well, comrade, you've spoken, so well about, the plight of retirees, and people at home too now have an idea of what is going on in that section of our society. But we also agree with you that whoever has served the country, be it any other level of work in Nigeria, should get what is due unto them, especially in due course. But I'd like to ask you, what does the book say? I mean, the law, if somebody retires, we are in April now, if somebody is retiring by June of this year, what are the step-by-step expected or laid down by the rules and the laws for someone who's about to retire? What are they expected to do after the regular documentation and confirmation that they are going, out of service? When, should they start expecting, what is due unto them, or is it different across, sectors?
Well, I think the fundamentals in the process of retirement is that when you are retiring in 3 months' time, you have to file in your papers. You give notice of retirement, 3 months notice. At whatever level, at whatever grade level, you have to give 3 months notice. So in that process, you begin to file your papers and you do your documentations. And for those that are in DBS who have served 25, 39 or whatever, who are still operating DBS in their state, where and how to get their papers filed. And those that are in CPS, you file your papers to your employer. Your employer will give you an acknowledgement letter, which will introduce you to your PFA, and your PFA will collect and process it and look at the total amount already contributed from both sides, both employer and employee, because it's going to be an omnibus remittance. So they look at it, they work out the papers, and in fact, in that regard, they don't waste time in calculating your paper. They don't even waste time in commencing, in paying you and commencing your monthly stipend. We call it stipend because it's not a pension money. If the level 12 or 13, 14 officer will be getting 25,000 naira monthly from CPS arrangement, it's not sitting. It's annoying and it's a terrible experience. So, in that regard, what am I trying to say now is that the system that operates with DBS, defined benefit scheme, is different from that of contribution scheme, because DBS will be filed and attended to by core civil servants. But there's a department that takes out of that. Unlike CPS, your PFA will play a very vital role in that regard.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I have just 2 more questions for you just before you go. We celebrate workers on May the 1st every year, and then they are still abandoned. Do you think this is hypocrisy or just the other way around, or they're just doing the needful?
No, it's not hypocrisy. Hypocrisy in what sense? That the pensioners are abandoned, Abi?
Yes.
No, they are not abandoned. Because at the frontal role of agitation, the Nigerian Labour Congress is not treating them with kid gloves. They are critical part of NSC. they are affiliates of NSC and they have a very vital role to play. And that is one reason why the leadership of Nigerian Labour Congress under Komejo Agero, in fact, yesterday he hosted them at the national headquarters of NSC, where they paid the national president the courtesy call. I saw the picture, and so they are not sitting there with kid gloves. And when you look at my article, I put it there that this May Day, the topic, the theme for this year's May Day is insecurity and poverty, bane of workers. And you know, in that regard, you realize that insecurity and poverty, who are the most affected? With the way we have given description of the plight of pensioners, you know that they are equally affected.
Of course.
Even those that are doing the worst. I'm talking about the bandits, the bandits and whoever you call them kidnappers. Why they kidnap people? Do they know whether the man you kidnap is a pensioner
or not?
Or the woman you kidnap is a pensioner? So all of us are affected, and mostly the people that are served, who have no energy that we have now, must be given a special treatment. And if you go further to read my article, you realize that I put it there that, you know, the stress, the experience, a lot of things, financial stress and financial muscle that they don't have now. I think government should be able to come up with a policy guide that will give premium importance to pensioners.
All right.
You know, we shouldn't be wicked. We should be wicked to ourselves. We should not be wicked to ourselves. You know, we know the way we take care of our aged parents. Can't government do something? Can't government do something instead of spending billions of naira for campaign, for political maneuvering, for causing crisis among themselves? They are spending billions of naira to cause crisis among themselves because of their grouping and their caucuses. So these are issues. Until when we are able to say the truth to the power, we will continue to have this suffering among all the strata of society in Nigeria.
All right, thank you very much. That's how much you can take. Thank you very much for accepting to talk to us on Glow Focus. Comrade Olowo Yogbenga is the General Secretary, Nigeria Civil Service Union, National Secretary, Joint National Public Service Negotiating Council, Trade Union side, and of course a member Central Working Committee of the Nigeria Labour Congress. Thank you so much, Comrade Olowo Yogbenga.
We wish you the best.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for your time. I
want to tell my brother who was asking me a probing question whether I'm a pensioner. I'm in the active service. So
yeah, pensioner in view. In view.
That's why you asked that question.
I just had to do my job. Thank you very much.
I only belong to your profession. So
thank you.
I can read your line.
Of course. Thank God.
Do well to have a great day,
best
comrade.
Of luck.
All right, yes, that's how much you can take. You can just quickly squeeze in one or two more calls.
Yeah, from home.
Yeah, from
and
home.
Just like we said earlier, if you have, aged persons or persons who have served so much, whatever you are doing to support them, please let us know so that others can learn.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, my auntie. How are you?
Very well, thank you. What's your name?
Ayela Bola from Obaile once again.
Oh,
please
thank you for rejoining us.
Uncle Mike.
Yes, sir.
You know, problem of retirees is problem of all.
Yes.
We don't know. Let me tell you, 90% of corruption in Nigeria is caused by retirees problem. They corrupt. You see, they knew what they are coming to meet after retirement is nothing, is doom. Hence, they will go all out, either by felony or misdemeanor. They will try to acquire wealth through corruption before the retirement. And federal government.
You mean some do that?
This. You say what?
I said you mean that some in active service engage in such.
Everybody, no some. Everybody. I'm talking
no,
of.
You can't generalize. You can't generalize that everybody.
I'm telling you sincerely. Be you pastor, be you imam, as far as you are a civil servant, you are not accepted. I'm telling you sincerely.
How do we avoid that? How do we avoid that?
Including the from the top to the lowest level in the ministry, including armed forces, police, and paramilitary. Go to our border, see what is happening there. They knew there's nothing they are coming to meet after retirement. So they will go all out to corrupt themselves, to enrich themselves through corruption. Through corruption.
All right.
So if our government can look after this, I was fortunate to be in a particular city, particular state. If you see anybody, I'm talking of security. Anybody that can rise to the rank of sergeant, is that person is a multimillionaire. The country there will finance all his children.
All right.
Then after in his own family, they will pick 4 people from his own family. They will place him on salary. They place that person on salary. Tell me, how would that person go and corrupt outside? If they defeat that kind of person, the family will kill him.
Let's hope that
so therefore,
in
Nigeria here, without that, if they can make up their minds to give what it is to retirees, what it is for them.
It means corruption will not be encouraged. Thank you very much. Sheriff Bello says one of the reasons of gratuity is to invest in bulk of the money into ventures profitable. Back in the days, some civil servants in the pension board even turned that to business and even ask commission and percentage for you to get your gratuity. Whereas in the oldies, that is the olden days, you get your money while bowing out. But it is unfortunate that the cadre that enjoys this right time payment is permanent secretaries. The pension scheme isn't even encouraging, and yet we don't want corruption in public office. He said the Nigerian police is a good case study. Okay, that's his own opinion there.
Did you take this comment from Oluwatobi? But no. He did say inadequate measuring is what I'm saying in this matter. Thank you very much
for dropping
that. Of course. Thank you, Oluwatobi Yubade and Amaviska Sheriff Bello.
All right, it's been a swell time. We hope that you join us tomorrow again by 10 a.m. for another 2 hours of national discourse. My name is Mike Alim Obafemi. Many thanks for joining us, and please take care of your aged persons, whether they've been in civil service or on private service. You just have to take care of them so that we too can be taken care of when we're old and tired.
All right, so that's how much you can think. A very big thank you to everyone for joining us. Ayela Bola, and to those who called, we cannot remember their name at this time. Thank you very much for being part of A Word of Sound. Tomorrow is another day. It is important to clarify that the opinion of those who have called in this morning are in no way connected to that of Glow FM, its management and staff, or the presenters of the program. Many thanks to our executive producer, Dr. Ezekiel Akonde, and to our producer, Akinwumi Abodude. On behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Comfort Omolafe. Join us again tomorrow. Remember, there is a repeat at 10 p.m. through 11 p.m. today. Bye for now.